Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into something a lot of us wear daily: smartwatches. They're sleek, they're smart, but are they really all they're cracked up to be? I've been rocking different smartwatches for years, and while I love the convenience, there are some downsides I just can't ignore. We see all the cool features in those flashy ads, but what about the stuff nobody talks about? Let's talk about the often overlooked drawbacks that might make you think twice about strapping that smartwatch to your wrist. First up, the dreaded battery life. We're in a world of smartphones that barely last a day, and somehow, smartwatches are even worse. For something we wear all day, many smartwatches struggle to last even a full 24 hours. I mean, you take it off to sleep, slap it on the charger, then wake up and do it all over again. That's not exactly the seamless future I was promised. And don't even get me started on using the GPS. You go for a run, tracking your route and listening to music, and boom, your watch taps out before you even finish your workout. Some of the higher-end models do a little better, but even then, we're talking maybe a day and a half, tops. Look, I get it. Cramming all that tech into a tiny package means battery life takes a hit. But for a device that's supposed to simplify our lives, constantly needing to charge it just adds another thing to worry about. Are we really trading our trusty analog watches, some of which didn't need a battery at all, for this constant charging anxiety? It's a question worth asking. Smartwatches are supposed to keep us connected, but let's be real, they often lead to notification overload. Every buzz, every ping, every message, it's like having a tiny screaming child strapped to your wrist. It's supposed to be convenient, but it's straight up distracting. Try focusing on a conversation or getting work done when your wrist is constantly buzzing with every email, social media notification, and news update. Good luck with that. And here's the thing. All those notifications aren't just distracting, they can actually increase your anxiety. Remember when you could actually, disconnect? With a smartwatch, you are always on, always connected, and that can be a recipe for burnout. Maybe a little digital detox wouldn't hurt, but how can you when your wrist is begging for attention every 5 seconds? Okay, let's talk health tracking. It's a major selling point for smartwatches, and in theory it's awesome. But the truth is, the accuracy of these features can be questionable. Heart rate, sleep tracking, step counts. They're estimates, people, not medical-grade measurements. And don't even get me started on the blood oxygen sensors that everyone seems to be obsessed with. Listen, I'm all for tracking fitness goals, but relying on a smartwatch for serious health decisions? That's risky. You could be stressing over a weird heart rate reading that means nothing, or worse, missing an actual health issue because you're relying on your watch's questionable data. These features can be motivating, sure, but let's not fool ourselves into thinking they're replacing actual medical devices or professional advice. Look, I'm not gonna lie, those tiny smartwatch screens can be straight up frustrating trying to type a message or navigate apps. It's a fiddly experience, especially if you have larger fingers. It's like trying to perform surgery with oven mitts on. And don't even get me started on reading long emails or articles. You're stuck scrolling through paragraphs one tiny screen at a time. Is it just me, or does squinting at a screen smaller than my thumb kind of defeat the purpose of convenience? And let's not forget about our parents and grandparents. For older people, those tiny screens and icons can be incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to see. Accessibility matters, people. I get it, we want these devices to be as compact as possible, but maybe, just maybe, there's a sweet spot between a wristwatch and a tablet that we haven't quite hit yet. Let's talk about the elephant in the room: privacy. Smartwatches collect a ton of personal data. I'm talking location, health info, activity levels. Basically, everything you do, your smartwatch knows about it. Now, some people might be cool with that, but it's a little creepy, isn't it? Are we really comfortable with that much information being stored and potentially shared? Data breaches happen, and your sensitive information could be at risk. And who has access to this data? The smartwatch companies themselves, third-party apps? It's not always clear, and that's a problem. We need more transparency about how our data is being used and who has access to it. Before you strap on that smartwatch, ask yourself, are you willing to trade your privacy for convenience? Let's be real, smartwatches can be expensive. I mean, we're talking hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars for a tiny computer on your wrist, and for that price, you'd expect them to be built like tanks, right? Well, not always. Some models are surprisingly fragile, scratches, water damage, you name it, they're vulnerable. And repairs? Let's just say they can put a serious dent in your wallet. Here's a thought. For the price of some smartwatches, you could buy a really nice traditional watch that will last you decades. No charging, no software updates, no privacy concerns, just classic, timeless style. So, before you drop a month's rent on the latest smartwatch, consider this. Is the convenience worth the cost and the potential for heartbreak if it breaks? Okay, this last one might be a bit philosophical, but hear me out. Smartwatches, while packed with cool features, can actually take us out of the present moment. Think about it. How often do you find yourself checking your wrist, even when you don't have a notification? Instead of engaging with the people around you, you're scrolling through apps, responding to messages, or checking your steps. It's like we're constantly plugged in, even when we should be present. And let's be honest, constantly glancing at your watch during a conversation is just plain rude. It's like saying, hey, whatever's happening on my wrist is way more interesting than you. Maybe it's time we put down the devices, even just for a little bit, and actually connect with the world around us.